Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I got to tell you, I love the reception that President Trump got. They showed a graphic of how many people met President Trump on the tarmac and off the red carpet and how many people met Barack Obama. It was embarrassing to see what the reception was for Obama. Embarrassing. It really was. But then, you know what really warmed my heart? When President Putin and President Trump finally met, shook hands. He says, President came out and says, look, Russia says he didn't have anything to do with it. Putin, that's what he's going to say. He's not committal. President didn't say, I believe him, or he just said, hey, he's going to say what he needs to say. But I don't think Donald Trump believes Russia tried to influence the election negatively. I think what Donald Trump is trying to do is he's negotiating and he's looking at what am I going to have to get out of Putin later. Let's make this initial meeting a good meeting. And here's what I like about it. It finally connects Donald Trump to the Russians. There's no more, oh, well, here's what he's trying to do. He's trying to backdoor communications. All that. No, that was right in your face. He met with the Russians. He met with Putin. They had a conversation. And we can normalize relations with Russia. That doesn't mean they're going to be our BFFs. They're not going to be our best friends for life. But they are somebody we need to be talking to. I looked at the size of the Russian economy. We could squash them. We could make things so difficult on Russia, it would make your head spin. Don't you think Donald Trump knows that? Barack Obama didn't know how to deal with Russia. When Russia went into Crimea, it was like Barack Obama said, Crimea a river. He could do nothing. All he did was tough talk, like the Syrian red line. Well, we got this red line. You crossed the red line. I ain't going to do nothing. I'm going to talk. I'm going to tell people, how tough I am, and then we'll see what happens. He did nothing. The red line came and it went. And there you have it. But President Trump met with Russia. You can bet those conversations were loaded with innuendo. Loaded with things about, between the friendships that we currently have with China, Japan. By the way, the biggest thing that Russia exports is their oil into Europe. Mostly Eastern Europe, so that's their threat. That could easily be disrupted. The only reason Donald Trump wouldn't throw Russia into chaos is because the Russians would then have to rely on the black market. They'd have to rely on nuclear, selling nuclear material, which we now know they control 20% of ours. So that's not a good thing necessarily. There you have it. But I love that he met with Putin. And he can say now, look, now Donald Trump can start building his own relationship with Russia, which is going to be better than anything we had with Barack Obama. And we can start dealing with them in whatever way we need to. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's not for me to determine. It's not for you to determine. But what we have to trust is in the leadership that we put into place to do the right thing. We did not have that in the previous administration. Leftists don't want to admit it, but it's true. Barack Obama was in way above his head. He went in and you've met these people. I know you know them. They feel like they want to be involved. Here's the way I liken it. I liken it to when I was a kid and the adults would be talking in the other room. And I'd sneak in, not sneak in, but I'd kind of come in. I'd listen to the conversation. And then I'd say something. And I wanted it to be profound, but it wasn't. And the adults would look at me like, nice try, but you need to get out of here. You're a kid. And sometimes my uncles might say, Kevin, this is an adult conversation, meaning you just said something stupid. That's the way Barack Obama, honestly, that's the way he approached foreign policy. He was a kid walking into the room, given enough information to be dangerous, and then he'd say something stupid. But because he's a leftist and he was graded on the affirmative action plan, people would go, oh, he's so profound. He's so profound. He's amazing. It's amazing he can talk and he can talk with clarity in complex sentences and occasionally makes sense. It's ridiculous. Anyway, however you view him, and I know there are some people that want to hold on to the vestige of, great Barack Obama. However you view him, Donald Trump every single day makes you understand how bad. I mean, you can't see a bigger difference between two people going to do something and what they accomplished in Barack Obama and Donald Trump. You can't see it. I mean, it's just too big. You can't get it into one frame like a photographer. Ugh. Talked earlier about Roy Moore. If he wins, he proves DC nor the media control the narrative any longer. Dangerous spot for the media, dangerous spot for leftists. Roy Moore. Democrat operatives trying to bring him down. The more we learn about these women that went after Roy Moore, the less respect I have for Democrats in general. I mean, and quite frankly, it's beyond a lack of respect. These people are criminal. They need to be put in prison. Why have we not done this? Anyway, we talked earlier about Roy. You can go check out the podcast if you want to see what we had to say about him. Here's another thing I found interesting. No more ladies and gentlemen. Did you hear about this? When they make announcements in various places, ladies and gentlemen, no more. We've now become so politically correct that we can no longer say ladies and gentlemen because it's offensive. There's yet another state somewhere, I forget where it is, that recognizes a third gender. I don't know what that is. Is your gender no gender? Or is your gender I'm both genders? I don't understand. I understand the latter because there are people, hermaphrodites, born with both parts. But even they have an idea of what they are. So, for example, I'm not going to get too graphic, but if you have a female hermaphrodite that's got male genitalia, she will develop breast. And so good example, Jamie Lee Curtis. She's a hermaphrodite. I didn't know. I mean, I learned this years ago, but Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know if you saw Trading Places. Whew, she looks good. So when they, did the surgery and got rid of the other set of stuff, which theoretically develop inside versus outside, that's all it was. But Jamie Lee's all woman. You get what I'm saying? So you kind of know which direction they're going to go. So you take them that direction, and that's that. Now we got to make a decision early on and all these other things. And it's squirrely out there. It's a crazy world. That's all I can say. Anyway, no more ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what they're going to say. We'll figure it out. We got a lot more to talk about. Glad you guys are with me. The Kevin Jackson Show, back in just a bit.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.